moves and gets picked, they get identified. They go on to Deimos's wanted list. He can then use his tracks against them. They're just a really great combination of operators.
Yeah, completely agree. Like, I remember when we first saw Deimos coming along, there were a lot of teams that were running him solo, and I was like, it doesn't feel like the way to do it. You know, in fact, it was one thing that Ubi spoke about during the reveal was the bait, essentially. You know, you've got someone being tracked out, and you know where the Deimos is coming from. Your teammates can help and assist on that. The line and the Dokkaebi helped shut that one down. But our band so far, I'd say looking not entirely standard, if nothing else, but the Yin coming away, definitely one of those bands that we see banned away in the vast majority of games that get played. Grim definitely going to take away some of the poison that goes into these attacks. Valkyrie, no massive surprise as well, with the Intel game being taken offline, which leaves our final defensive ban for Falcons, Tim.
But it does leave us with that Lion Deimos combo and Chief start on the attack. So let's see if it's something that they utilise again against Falcons here. Azami, unsurprisingly, going to be our final defensive ban. In terms of both, if we look at both presence and pick rate, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't have the numbers, but I know at least 3 of the regions that Azami is topping both of those numbers. I imagine worldwide it will be the same if we had a look at it as a complete picture like that. Azami just head and shoulders above. And when I talk about presence and pick rate, the difference between those two things, presence is where we're taking the bans into account as well. So we're talking about how, you know, what percentage of rounds is she picked or is she banned, so we get a picture overall, or your percentage of picked when available. So when the players can absolutely physically choose to pick Azami, how often do they choose to do it? She's clear top in both, so no surprise to see her go in as the Falcons defensive ban.
I was curious actually how things shake up, and the only operator over the last 30 days that has had a higher ban percentage than Azami is, have a guess?
It's
a shield operator, I'll give you that one.
Monty?
Blitz.
No, Blitz.
Yeah, Blitz free up there. Maybe we don't see it banned all that often in EU, admittedly, it gets used quite a lot, but I think around the world, obviously, teams just aren't quite equipped to be able to deal with the aggression that a Blitz enables you to employ, so maybe we'll see bans of that coming out throughout the major. For now, as you've seen, all our bans are through, and we are ready and set to go.
Ready, Des.
Ready and ready. Born ready, quite clearly. It's going to be Kitchen and Dine to start things off here as well to get us moving. And
I'm not
I think
sure
we're going to have a rehost. No, that was a long spray. Not a lot.
He's really worried about a spawn pick.
Going to have a little bit of a rehost coming in there. It wouldn't be the start of Major Day 2 without a rehost, Tim.
Look, it's phase 1. It happens. Deal with it, Des. Deal with it. Come on, we'll get it sorted. We'll get
find some other fun stats to dig up.
I'm sure there'll be plenty for us to have a chat about, but we'll get this one sorted out ASAP and get into game. Yeah, if you did see that, don't worry. It wasn't just an overzealous counter peak. There wasn't that much concern about it.
So you can see here, if we look across the entirety of Stage 2, most banned is Monty, 48.7, so I don't blame you all for choosing the Monty. Valkyrie at 38.5, Azami at 38.5, so those are tied. And then looking towards Blitz. In fact, I'm looking only at Europe there as well, so that's what I was speaking about earlier in terms of saying I think we've seen quite a lot of Blitz in Europe. We go global and start looking at different numbers and find out what that looks like in just a moment.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is with Siege, it's always like this. You know, we have these shifting metas, and you know, we have these operators that move around in terms of popularity. And right now, yeah, the shields are on top in many ways. They are, you know, very difficult to deal with. We've seen a lot of rounds won on the back of them, but you know, you start to see that innovation around them as well. New ways of doing things, new ways of defending, new ways of banning potentially. But the beauty of it is sometimes, the thing that I like about it is, okay, the shields are attracting a lot of bans at the minute because they're powerful, but what does that mean? It means that we start to see rounds with Thatcher in. It means that we start to see rounds with Mirror in. It seems, you know, that we start to see more Valkyrie, that we start to see these operators that otherwise were attracting a lot of bans themselves, and it just rotates things, and again, it just drives that innovation of, hang on a minute, maybe we can bring Mirror back into the fold here. What can we do? You know, because we did see a long period of time where when Mirror wasn't banned, she wasn't really played because teams had just got to the point of saying, well, she's never available, so we're not really planning to use her. And so even then when she was available, she didn't necessarily get brought in. But yeah, I like that sometimes. You know, we have this shift in power, the shift in bans, and it just drives a little bit of difference.
Yes, all players are back in lobby, so should be back into things in just a moment. So thank you for bearing with us on that one. A little bit of breaking the fourth wall there and giving a bit of insight behind the scenes. We have to let players back in the order that they're sitting, so we get everything lined up, like player count-wise and stats-wise, and it all sings and dances nicely. So it's not like everyone just throws back in all at once. You have to make sure you're in the right order, which is why sometimes these things take a couple of minutes to get through. But rest assured, we are all now back in, and round one is about to get underway once again. We'll stick on that same site, kitchen and dining. Imagine we'll see the same operator pick sticking through as well, Tim, and we'll see how things shake down from there.
Yeah, we're going to get ourselves in now. I can see on my other screen that we are loaded in and ready to go. So as soon as we are confident that everything is working smoothly, which it appears to be, we will get going. So back in we go. We're on Chalet. You haven't missed anything. If you've just tuned in, it was coming into round one, map one. We are bang at the beginning of today's story. And believe me, today's story is going to have plenty of twists as it goes on. As a reminder for anybody, the winner of this game, Chiefs versus Falcons, will go through to phase 2. This will be a qualification for the winner. The loser will drop down to the lower bracket where they will play again today, which is then going to give them an opportunity to avoid dropping out. There is going to be 4 teams that we lose here from Montreal on day 2 of phase 1. So let's get into things. It's going to be dining and kitchen to kick things off, Des, and immediately that lion scan comes in.
Yes, and as it should, it's more just expecting there to see a little bit of cheekiness, a potential spawn peak, someone having to run away. Of course, you get that instant tag that comes out. We saw those changes come into Dokkaebi recently, which of course means that you can't use it straight away. You can't kind of scare this potential early aggression coming out. But I spoke about this in the pre-game. Falcons, especially over in MENA, were used to very, very aggressive play styles, very, very quick rounds as well. And when I spoke to their analyst, Eden, it's one thing that he reflected on. I said, you know, one thing you'll see is a lot of the boys like to try and fix problems themselves. They will be aggressive. They might act a little bit out of turn at places as well. Not strictly a bad thing, but just keep an eye on that you will see them want to try and move fast at points here. Of course, in the defense, you're more reactive, but when they see an opportunity against Chiefs, they will try and take it.
Just got Odo watching the angle here, trying to support the breaching activity of his ace, which looks like it's going to be successful. They do pick up the player at the bottom of Trophy Stairs, but unable to do anything about it just yet. Hasham does take down Odo as well. That is that cover cleared away, so just going to make a little bit more danger for the ace of Tex as well. And holding on to this position well, but no, the track stingers have kind of done their job really, given enough of a distraction. The nade comes in, very nicely bounced off the roof, get that fuse ticking after it hits the surface, and then it finds the down, so it gives Chiefs a little bit of a way in.
I was going to say, I don't know if they know that he's down though. Like, as far as they're concerned, there is still a player sat on those stairs, and there were 3 or 4 players all gathering around Solar and around the trophy window, just trying to catch him here. And the support's there. Will he get away with this? I think he might actually do it as well. This is unreal. Really Chiefs probably shouldn't let him get away with this, but they've changed their game tact. They realize they've lost 2 players here and need to do something about it. They can't just sit here and wait for Falcons to run into them, because Falcons are playing this super well so far. Yeah,
Quiz was close enough to trophy window there to be straight onto it afterwards, but really needed to be in that position, because if he is, you know, there's a potential there that he catches the drop.
Nice.
As it is, he's going to manage to get Hasham, so that is going to be the down player. So a little bit of... no, Hasham was the one to pick up, sorry. So 20 HP on the side of Dove is going to now be low health as well. 4 versus 3. If Chiefs can find this next kill, there's a real opportunity for them to get back into this one with 40 seconds left to go.
Tex almost gets picked off there as the C4 comes through. Quiz is gone, a 4v2, and I feel like Falcons have done everything they needed here. They've held down well. Robbie, Irish player, one of the rookies that's joined this team, of course, this year as well, now in a good spot where they've got a 4 versus 1, and you really couldn't have asked for a better first round out of Falcons.
No, it's been really good. I come back to that metric that I use sometimes. How bothered have the players inside of sight been? And the answer is not at all. Chiefs have not got inside of the map here. They've never really gained any control. They've not broken down utility. As you can see, we've still got electrified walls. We've still got castle barricades. You know, we've got Falcons players that are happy to take a peek and just have a look and see if they can get that final kill, because they know the round is done. So Chiefs really struggling on attack that round. Falcons pretty much unbothered, I think it's fair to say, just in their lane, playing their game, and they're going to be happy going into round 2.
That's it. And again, for me, it was the difficulty in removing the player that was sat on solar stairs, as we were speaking about, right? Overkin was there for a minute and a half. We did have tracks coming through. We had nades coming on through, players on both windows, downstairs and upstairs, looking to put pressure on. But it was like a stalemate in chess where no one could really take out the other. And sure, they get the down, but at least in the reactions of the players, they didn't seem to realize it. They got the down and then all moved away, which let them go back in and get him back up on his feet. And that was really 2 minutes of the round already burnt out. So well played by Falcons to hold on, but that's the kind of situation where you're saying to Chiefs, like, you should be able to burn this player out by now, and you're committing so much resource towards him.
Yeah, I think a bit more tenacity needed. You know, like you say, they've been playing the utility into that area. You've had track stingers going, you've had nades going, you know that it's a problem. So if the nade's gone in, you've either got to be following it with a drone, you've got to be following it with a player, you've got to be following it with something to think, if we want to take this area, if we want to get this kill, we've got to go and get it. And I think Chiefs maybe just needing to show just a little bit more sort of a clinical finish to those duels if they want to find some success here. I'm interested to see how many drones and how long they last into the round as well, because that is one of my questions as to, you know, why didn't Chiefs know that? Why weren't they aware that there was an opportunity to finish that situation?
Well, Jigsaw is carrying on, by the way, with his streak of only playing line on attack. This is now 13 of 13 attacking rounds that he has picked that operator, and of course we've got Swiss here on the Deimos. We were speaking about this a bit in the pre-show, about this synergy that you're seeing being built up between the Deimos and either the Lion or the Dokkaebi. It's a really good pairing. They're looking to lean into that a little bit in this round, with the Monty also tend to be able to take space, with the Nomad able to shut things down behind them. So I like what they're going for here. It makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't really work if you start losing players. It's the Bravo that's gone down early, so far from the end of the world, but here we go. This combo coming online. The Monty leading the way. Deimos up front as well with the track coming in. Of course, they've got to be mindful. They get the vision back on his side too, but they've got to find this shot. Will they get the man? No, he gets taken down as well. You've got to be finding the entry in that position as well when you've got that real-time track coming on through. But Jalad has just put him in the dirt, and how on earth has Robbie got in behind them here? They've absolutely crumbled at the seams, and my God, Falcons are decimating Chiefs.
They're looking great at the minute. Like you say, at the point where Jalad's able to challenge onto a Deimos that's tracking him and win, Falcons are going to keep winning rounds at that point. It's now 1 versus 5. I think it was 1 versus 4 last time around for Chiefs. They can't keep finding themselves in these situations. It's going to run away from them quickly. I mean, it was Falcons' map pick, so we would expect them to be doing well, but they're just getting cheeky now, looking, chasing this kill. They all want it. They're all piling out of windows, doors, anywhere that they can potentially get an angle onto him. They can see a bit of kit damage there, and ultimately that final kill comes in.
They are feeling themselves so far. Now, I'm a pretty big advocate in general of a tactical timeout early on in the game, and I feel it should really come in here from Chiefs, because those two attacks, they've struggled at step 1 in both rounds. In clearing out solar stairs in the last round, took them 2 minutes to get anything done, and even then it was just a down. In this round here, and sure enough, there's the tack timeout. In that round there, that Robbie manages to get a vault in through the recently opened up wall, the one between, like, not sites, but between Master and Office, and kills 2 players. That shouldn't be allowed to happen. You've got a Monty, you've got a Lion, you've got the Deimos on side, you've got so many tools to make hunting down these players that are playing aggressively so easy, yet they still manage to stuff it up and lose to a flawless round at that as well. They've got 2 kills to their name across 2 rounds. It's not good enough.
No, it's been a tough start for Chiefs. There's no way around it. Let's not forget we're on Chalet. You know, there is usually opportunities for attackers to find a couple of rounds here. Chiefs are going to be wanting a minimum of 2-4, ideally 3-3 or better, and it's just not looking good for them at the minute. Like I say, yes, we can fall back on the fact that it ain't their map pick. It's usually, you know, one that Falcons are going to be favouring, but still, you're at a major now. If you want to be competing, you want to be going through into the later stages, you better have as broad a map pool as is possible, and Chiefs at the minute showing that they are definitely a little bit wobbly on the attack of Chalet at least.
Yes, it's not looking particularly good. However, hopefully after that tack timeout, they've shaken off that early morning rust, and we see them coming back in force here in round 3, going straight down into the basement here. With a pretty classic setup, dare I say, as well. You've got the electrification joined up by the hopefully chilling effect. Of course, not really used to it here, because here in Montreal, there's no snow this time, Tim. It was very weird.
No, it's very a very odd reception for me. Every time I've come to Montreal, it's been a -10 or, do you say less or more in that? I don't know. -10 or less. I don't know.
The funny thing is, the day before we flew, it was 21 degrees. Now, this is Celsius, by the way, for the Americans. I apologise. It was 21 degrees, and I was like, the next day it went down to 11. So 10-degree drop in a single 24-hour period. I was like, that is mental. So it is getting colder, but not cold enough for snow.
I don't mind it feeling cool here. It feels like it should do. You know, we're going to come out to Montreal. It's what you expect. But
I like the cold.
yeah, certainly not the minus 20 that I've seen here before, when the inside of your nose freezes up if you're outside for 2.
No, thankfully, that much we are swerving so far. However, it could get much colder over the next 10 days. There's a lot of Siege to play in that period. But back to the point, again, they've got a lot of denial to play in here with the Goyo, the Mirror, of course, got the Tuberal alongside the Bandit. They've got good tools to hold on. However, they've already found Overkin going down. Not the end of the world losing the Goyo. They've already placed all of his gadgets, but you lose a second, and this starts to get bad. They get the reverse C4 over the back of it as well, and Jalad carries on with his streak of terror so far. 2 kills to himself in this game, and Jigsaw's taken down on that Lion once again.
Yeah, it was a better start from Chiefs. They've lost the opening duel in the first 2 rounds, so Sean was able to get those entry kills. This time, Jigsaw able to lock it down, but they've not really been able to capitalise on it. There's been an immediate trade there. Falcons able to keep things level. So as far as, you know, defending goes, you really don't mind that situation too much. We're going to see Falcons getting chased back down the blue stairs by the Deimos scan. Order manages to pick up Robbie as well. This is at least better from Chiefs. Look at them. They're inside of the map. They're starting to take ground. They're starting to find kills, but still Falcons have an answer.
This is the thing, and I spoke about this back at the start of round 1, the aggression you expect out of Falcons. You know, Menas are very... Look at this, like, even at this point in the round, Asham's still going in aggressive here and trying to swing in towards Mud. The boys can barely step inside the building without being shot at this point. So every corner you step around and feel, yep, that's safe, they've pushed them back, all well and good. No, that line comes surging straight back at you, and you're permanently on edge for 3 minutes, as you probably should be in a round of Siege, but this is, like, ridiculous levels of aggression out of Falcons.
The one downside for them at the minute is Jalad's health. If we look at the mirror, down to 8 HP, so it's going to take a graze from a bullet through a wall to take Jalad down. So certainly need to kind of keep him off the radar and only engage him into guaranteed wins, really, or absolutely essential fights. For the time being, his position might just get a little bit trickier. He was trying to play himself in connector, trying to find a little bit of safety, but Tuberal is going to save him for a little while, just freezing out that hatch for the time being.
A little bit of time still stalled. They've got the C4 in the back pocket of the Bandit as well, and no real, I was going to say, vertical destruction available to Chiefs outside of the Deimos, who has been getting busy on that, admittedly, trying to give them something. Now there's only 2 left, though. The Deimos really levels up in power here. You know that half the team here at this point is now being tracked out. You isolate them, you go in for the push, and sure enough, there is the freebie. 1 left standing, and it's Asham in behind the mirror. Does he know that the plant's going down here on the other side of him? I don't think he does. That is so cheeky. Almost gets the down as well, but not quite. Quiz is there to get the completion, and Chiefs are finally on the board.
Yeah, I think that they desperately needed that round after the tactical timeout as well. It's going to be great just for the mental, just for the momentum to start building a little bit of something. Falcons need to shut this down quickly. Chiefs had a little bit of a wobble in the mid-round. Falcons were able to get those nice kills as they kept falling back. They'd take one with them, get the trade, and they managed to level it up at 3-3. But ultimately, Chiefs had done the chip damage earlier on in the round, really, and were able to make it pay. They're going in there, and you could see that Falcons knew they were playing it a little bit tentatively. You had Hasham on the Bandit, 25 health, locked in tight behind that mirror, not wanting to move. You had, the mirror, Jalad himself inside of connector on 8 HP, not wanting to move, and it really seemed to limit Falcons in terms of what they could do. They really didn't want to, move around too much inside because they knew that they couldn't get away with getting caught on a rotate, take a bullet or 2, but still get into a better position. They'd have been dead. So, yeah, good stuff from Chiefs in round 3, managing to get something going.
It's one thing I'll say as well is I know that for Chiefs, one, they've got Jigsaw on side now, of course, as you know, that brings... It's only been recent that he's joined them as well, mind you, but I know one thing they've worked on from speaking to them and speaking to Guz as well, fair play to him for giving quite a lot of insight into the Chiefs team. They're trying to take on this more structured EUNA style where it is more about the structured gameplay, the strategical side of Siege, whereas, as mentioned for Falcons, not that they haven't got that in their arsenal, but looking at all the entries so far in this game, they've all come around about the 35-second mark. They really want to disrupt Chiefs and stop them getting to that excellent execution at the end of a round. As we've just shown in the 3v3, Chiefs played things out absolutely fantastically, even with limited tools to get the job done. It's in Falcons' interest to keep on trying to trip Chiefs off here. See them losing members early in the round. In that previous one, I think if Robbie had got the kill onto Otter, who was the Nomad up around jungle, that would have changed the outcome of that round drastically. But you can understand here that Chiefs have got to be really careful and not let Falcons keep catching them out too early in the round, as Quiz almost found out here.
Gonna get caught out. It's Jigsaw once again. 2 openers in a row now, taking down Jalad. That's the Vigil gone, and that's a big loss.
He should know this as well, because Jigsaw has been there at the start of every single round so far. He's killed him through that window once as well. He should respect and know that is Jigsaw's starting position in essentially every single round here, and it's just let that slip out of his mind and paid the price.
As I often say about Vigil, he's got to waste time and he's got to find kills, because that's what he brings. That's what his gadget enables him to do. Arguably now, he's died in the first 40 seconds. It's a waste of an operator pick, because you could have brought somebody else who would have had utility that maybe supported the team a little bit more. That hasn't been the case, but there is an answer at least. Jigsaw gets taken down on the Lion. That leaves us 4 versus 4. Quiz is low health as well on the Deimos. 17 HP to his name, but this is good. We're going to have Chiefs getting in, getting that wall open. That's going to help them now to clear out office. They can open this wall into dining. It opens up the plant spot for them. It's checklist siege, and I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and having else only one player, and you've got the one back on the other side as well. Again, I think when Chiefs get into a spot where it's about the execute and about the team play, that's where you'll see them come out on top. Falcons, no doubt, will try some other crazy stuff here to disrupt them and try and stop this execute coming off, but I feel if Chiefs get through with it and get away with it, it's a different conversation, and I think Falcons will struggle to recover. Holding on to here as well. Here's Robbie. Look at that. Another step straight back into it. Almost finds a second. Maybe getting tagged out here, but like I spoke about the sort of delay and the trap that you can use, you've got a shove off towards the right-hand side, giving a bit of cover on the Wamai. And in case you didn't know, of course, freezing the ground does deny away that track, at least for a short amount of time. Won't forever, but should at least help for now to hold on to this doorway.
This is it. It's not just doing that. The position that he's actually playing that Zoto canister, and it's really smart. It's squeezing out the door as well. It prevents him getting walked in on, but ultimately it comes through the breach instead. But there is a trade there. Manages to find at least Quiz on his way out from Dove. So that is going to be now 3 versus 1 as Falcons hold on beautifully. Hasham finds the final kill, and I love that Tubrai playing office. Like you said, you're using the Zoto canister to prevent the Deimos track, but it also freezes outside of the door, prevents them walking in on him from there without him being aware of it. He's going to have that sound calm of anybody stepping into that cold, anybody going through that, the chattering of the teeth are going to give him away. It's beautiful stuff, and it wasted so much time. And what did it do? It prevented them opening the dining wall. The exothermic was on there. It was blocked out for the longest time. They couldn't clear the utility off. Great stuff from Falcons.
Yeah, and again, I'll probably come back to what I said as well, is that Chiefs, I think, enjoy this more structured gameplay, whereas Falcons want to be the ones getting a bit disruptive. You saw that from Robbie. If he got the second kill on towards lobby stairs as well, would have been beautiful. But on the sheer fact that he's there trying to be a bit of a disruptor, yeah, great, that's what we expected. But then also what you see is 3 players pulling back. You've got 1 below, 1 playing on the rotate wall. You've got a shot off towards bathroom door. The last player, when he stepped in from Chiefs, was being shot from below and 2 separate angles on the same floor. Like, you don't walk away from that, but it was just really good coordination and team-play coming out from Falcons and showing that, you know what, they can stave off and execute at the same time. That's where you start to get a little bit worried for Chiefs now coming into these next 2 rounds. They're going to try something a bit different here, dropping away from having Quiz on that Deimos, going towards Dokkaebi and Lion, and once again seeing the return of that Monty.
Got the knock as well onside from Order, so we'll see just exactly where that push comes in from, whether it's going to be utilising that gadget, trying to stay off the cams and have a little crouch walk in there. Of course, not only taking knock off the cams, but just reducing her overall sound profile as well, so making it very difficult for those defenders to pick up on an approaching knock. As it stands, Tex already in the building. Looks like he's going to be pushing up those solar stairs.
And really, it's about the control in front of him that's the big one. Last time around, the Deimos playing in front of the Monty, which...
They don't know. They don't know!
Oh, dear.
That's a big mistake there.
So, you've got drones, you've got Dokkaebi, you've got Lion, you've got Monty, and yet a player has still managed to remove your front line in this round, really with no bother. That is criminal, to say the least. 7
drones online and not being aware of a player just lying prone inside a solar. Like you say, that's... there's a very good chance you're going to get what you've asked for in this round now.
They have killed 2 players, though, I'll give them that, and that's a good placement to be in. Again, now they're in a spot where they've still got a lot of tools. You've got 2 Dokkaebi calls coming online. You've still got an E1D to play behind. You've got smokes. You've got flat. They've got everything they need to make this work. This is now in their hands. They're in a 4 versus 3 with that numbers advantage, the gun advantage, everything advantage. They shouldn't lose it. You've just got to be so careful of that C4 that still sits in the back pocket of the mirror. But Dovahkiin's fell down. That's the Warden offline, so now those flashes even more potent.
They might just get away away with this one. Like you say, 4 versus 2 at this point, and Jaladen guards with an awful lot of time to hold on for as well. They can just burn that away. But I tell you what, Chiefs, they decide they need to up the difficulty a little bit for themselves. They're going to find a team kill. Jigsaw gets taken down by order. 2 versus 3. 2 versus 2. Jaladen's an absolute beauty through the wall. He knew he was there and he found his man. 1 versus 2 though. He's going to have to find several more kills to win this one out.
Sees it. He saw him but didn't pull the trigger.
It's so difficult because we see them, but of course the players are all on their own resolutions. So sometimes we sit here screaming, you saw him, and he might have been in behind the scope. It might have just looked slightly different on the player's perspective, but there was a moment there where I thought Falcons might just be able to play back into that one. Des, they've got to kick themselves there. They've taken away the tip of the spear. They've got the Monty for absolutely free. And then I think they get the Monty, and there's a bit of excitement there. There's a bit of, right, I just need to run away back to my team now. And you've not thought about that next step, which is there's a player on rappel, you're dead. Hold yourself in that corner. What can they do? They're not going to just push up solar stairs onto you because you're going to kill them as well. You're going to have a good chance in that gunfight. For me, you've got to play that a little bit more patiently. You've been fantastically patient. You've got your Monty kill. Just stay in your place. They can't move you.
Your natural instinct is like shoot and move, right?
Yeah.
It's always the way because they know exactly where you are at that point. You're not going to be safe staying there, so I get it as well. For me, it was more how the 4v2 almost fell away from Chiefs. Like, the team kill, I was like, how on earth has that come about? That was at the back of a Dokkaebi call. Whether it was like a panic flick, like, I hear a phone call, quick flick, shoot, and then that player's dead, I don't know. To then also lose a second player and a spray through a smoke, I was like, not a 2v2. Surely we don't see them giving this one away. But they do manage to bounce back and get things over the line. That's the important part. And I think for Chiefs here, after what has been a pretty catastrophic start for those first 2 rounds, to actually have 2 attacks on the board, I wouldn't be too beat up about a 2-4 half, to be honest. I
say this constantly, Des. There's an opportunity for them to come away 3-3. If they do, it's an absolute steal. It's daylight robbery from Falcons. Because Falcons have certainly been on top. And Chiefs are showing great resilience. They're scrapping. And, if you want to win these games, you've got to win the scrappy rounds.
You do.
And Chiefs have done that brilliantly well. I'm just a little bit concerned for them in the second half. Falcons map pick on a map where generally attacking, is at least 50-50.
Yeah.
I expect Falcons to be getting them 3 rounds minimum. So, for me, this is a must-round win for Chiefs here. I don't want to put, too much pressure on it necessarily. 2-4, like you say, given the performances, wouldn't be the end of the world. But would it be enough? I don't think it would be.
Of course, we could see, I would say, 2 halves to a game of Siege. You could very much see Falcons come out in the second half and just not be quite with it on the attacking half of this map. And Chiefs could absolutely fly. Like, we've seen crazier things happen throughout the history of Siege, of course. Many a memory I can think of that would match that description. However, for now, we'll see how this final defensive round goes for Falcons. Find ourselves down in the basement, and Chiefs, they didn't play things out too bad here last time around. Actually looked pretty in control, even when they had limited tools to come through into the execute. 3v3, they pulled off brilliantly. And in this round, just to really double down on everything, they've got the Dokkaebi, they've got the Lion, they've got the Deimos, and they've got the Monty too. And they're bringing the whole gang along for this round.
It's quite interesting to see them play in this site without very much hard breach. Normally speaking, we would have 2 focuses when attacking this site. First focus, clear the map, because normally now defenders will defend the entire map. So you're going to go top floor down, you're going to clear that. You're going to then start opening some verticals inside of Fireplace. You're going to try and see what you can get going, see if you can move anybody, see if you can maybe pick a kill up. But at the same time, really, you want a bit of hard breaching going on, I think. Get that main wall open, even if it's for a bit of phantom pressure. Maybe get yourself over towards Trench, opening towards default plant spot there. As it is, they're not going to have a choice other than to push single doorways and staircases, and that could be a tough one for them. Oh, I say that. They brought in the third. There was a 6-pick.
They did. I mean,
I was rolling. Well, I had far too much momentum behind me.
And the same with the Thinker as well. That's been changing, of course, for the Dokkaebi. So more of a change out to actually what we've seen across the last couple of rounds. So no big complaint on that side. Failed deathmark pretty much immediately, unfortunate for them. However, still trying to work their way through. It's top floor being cleared out and any threats removed, I think, is the crucial one. I said earlier on about them being on edge every single second of the round. They certainly are. C4 over the top, 1 inside. Does he know about him inside a trophy? I don't think he does at this point, but we'll be able to get away. In fact, 9 inside trophy, just outside the window. And 1 now coming down solar as well. So they're being really careful here, and I like this, to be fair, coming out from Chiefs. They're not charging their way forwards and getting themselves picked off by players that are prone or ratting in a corner or swinging you blind as you step forward. But you've lost your Deimos there. That is not ideal.
it's not ideal when your setup is going to revolve around getting these top 2 floors clear. Every kill that Falcons get up here is a really big win for them. You see Tex has the opportunity here, surely. He's going to get backed into a corner. He does have a little bit of support, but this one just rests on a knife edge at the minute. We can see Tex taking a lot of damage there, but he manages to find Gelad. Order takes down Dove as well, and that leaves us now 4 versus 2. And once again, it's the same as happened last time. Falcons maybe just over-committing on those upper floors, and now Chiefs have a heavy man advantage and time on their side as well to start working towards that bottom floor. They've got the hard breach still. Everything is available to them.
Much, much better. And this is what you expect to see across the majority of these rounds coming out from Chiefs, to be fair. When you've got things like the Monty on side, you should be able to work your way through and isolate players and punish them as a team. They've really come on with the tools to make it happen in this round. Hashon being the only one left alive here, I think he knows that his days are numbered, or in this case, seconds, as the plant is now going down.
Yeah, he's just going to be looking to spray around the corner, not going to get any joy whatsoever. The Monty, of course, is going to be that constant tool of information and intel. Tex actually manoeuvres him into a brilliant position there as well. He's not going to be able to get his way past the Monty. Jigsaw's there to back him up. Great stuff from Chiefs, and they close out another successful round. 3-3 on the half is an absolute steal for them. They've really come back after that tactical timeout.
When you look at it, really what's happened is they've had 2 really bad rounds that have been down 0-2. They've made it a 4-round half for them in a way. And across those 4 rounds, they've gone 3-1. I'd be delighted with that as an outcome. They've really warmed into it. It was a proper journey from really terrible to start to really amazing at the end. That last round was how I expected the majority of their attacks to go, to be honest, because they look so much warmer there. And Jigsaw, as mentioned, has played Lion every single round. That continues. 17 out of 17 attacks. He has now been on that operator. Long may it continue. I just wanted to play Lion for the whole tournament, so we've got a really fun story to talk about at the end. This player played 1 operator the whole way through. Wow.
Wow.
We switch sides, though. Now Chiefs get to go on the defense and show us what they can do. And Falcons, as mentioned, these are the teams. This is where I want to see that kind of team coordination coming together. 2 halves to a game of Siege. It doesn't mean you'll see the same as what you saw back in that first half. They're leaning into very similar operators by the looks of it as well, with the Lion, the Dokkaebi, and the Monty coming along. So no drastic change there. But the one thing that I'll probably look at for these guys and remark on is that aggression that we spoke about. The MENA region's known for being very fast and very aggressive Siege. It can mean sometimes players act a little bit too independently and pull themselves ahead of the rest of the team, and they pay the price for that. We are aware there's no sound, by the way. It is being worked on, don't worry.
We will have it back to you.
Oh, hello.
As soon as possible. Jigsaw getting another entry, picking up guards. Chiefs really starting to build a bit of pace behind them at the minute. That's the 4th entry for Jigsaw as well. Coming into this one, we highlighted him as a player on the roster, and we said he is a match winner. We know that about him. He is somebody who can turn a game, and he's showing exactly why right now.
I cheered too soon. Back to the silence point.
Des, you broke it. I think it was your cheer that broke it.
I haven't got a big button to press that says audio on or audio off, unfortunately. I'll have to live with that one, I'm afraid. But yes, Blackbeard going down. Interesting choice. Not really the one that you'd see dying early in a round with a shield in front of his face, but probably caught sprinting forward at that point and paid the price at the back of it. You look at the change in the comp coming out there. You're looking at like Ram, for example, and the Capital coming here for Falcons. Didn't see that coming out of Chiefs back in the first half. So more looking here, I think, towards execute-based utility with the Capital on side. And the Ram, as we all know, fantastic at that vertical destruction piece. Jigsaw, though, despite getting the entry, has now been picked out.
Robbie just managing to level things up there. Falcons going to be, I'm not going to say panicking just yet. There's plenty of time, and they're starting to walk on through side here. Robbie managing to find another, but Tex did pick up Jalab before he was traded out. The problem for Falcons here is it is their map, and they need to be winning these attacks. They do, as I say, that managed to find themselves a nice double. All of a sudden, you've got 1 man left alive inside a site. It was only going to end one way, and Falcons going from what looked for a moment like a potential Robbie solo play, just wandering in through sight and getting kills. All of a sudden, everybody else gets involved. They get it over the line, and it gives them a great start to this second half.
I love how it was very coordinated as well. Again, I was speaking about this aggression that you had to be mindful of when watching Falcons, but they're doing it as a team. You've got the Lion scan coming out, you've got calls coming on through, you've got drones rolling forward from 1 or 2 players as well. It is a concerted team effort at this point. And Chiefs there, I think, just got caught a bit by the pace of it. A little bit caught out on the other side of a mirror window, for example, is not a great spot for a player to be stuck inside of, and they pay the price off the back of it. So a good first attacking round. We'll see if Chiefs can kind of reset here and go, okay, that's the kind of game we're playing here. Let's speed things up a little bit ourselves.
On we go then. It's going to be round 8. It's going to be gaming and bar this time. Chiefs on the defence for the remainder of the game, of course. They're going to be, unless we go to overtime, they're going to be up on the top floor. I'm just interested to see how far this extension is going to go. We've kind of got, you know, two potentials here often. You'll have somebody holding mezzanine and library, potentially below stairs, that trifecta of positions that we always talk about. Thank you very much, Mr. Observer. I don't know who we've got observing for us today. I'm
not sure, actually, no. Well, I'm sure we'll find out on WhatsApp shortly.
If it was medics, I feel like he'd have given us the textbook spin. Medics spin by now.
He does, yeah. He does. We've got Nova today.
We've got Nova, there we go. Monsters are abound. So thank you very much, Nova, for showing us that area I was talking about. But it's interesting to see how far Chiefs extend in towards Office and Master. How much do they deploy out there to try and hold on to that? Falcons, do they try to play into it? Or with that extension, do they think that's going to leave them light on sight, both utility and man count? Can we look at potentially just getting straight on him?
They really want this player, though, inside of library, because obviously he's the main threat on towards the window. So you've got a Capital, you've got a Blitz, you've got a lot of tools that you can work with to try and make this happen. And sure enough, there's the fire over the top. They want to try and force him forward, but look at that, just stood on the edge of the fire here. He's in a spot where he won't have to move away, and now the Wamai's caught one out too. This is dream territory for them. Both firebolts are down, and the Warden hasn't been forced away, so Falcons a little bit misplaced on some of the utility here. EMP coming in, there's now the Warden. I was about to say he's dead to rise, but Jalad, before we can even see an EMP go off, he's in there, and the plant is going down. Sure, 83 HP on the Bandit, but it's already been complete. Splits even.
Great stuff from Falcons, just a beautifully timed collapse moving in. Order had a little bit of time in there that I recognised from my games. Just looked down at the wrong moment as Jalad hopped in, got himself one, finds another later in the round with a headshot there onto Tex. Quiz just trying to fight back from above. It's going to be nothing. Falcons flawless, and they are looking fantastic and streamlined on the attack.
Keep it simple, stupid, right? The little acronym you got to remember sometimes. What do they really have to do in that round? Outside of smoke going in, plant going down, glass to give the cover, barely anyone inside the building at that point. All they had to worry about was the player that was above the Warden. They EMP'd him and had a player jump in and take him down at the same time. So regardless of outcome there, he wasn't going to be very effective up on that top floor, even if he managed to kill the Capital that came flying in after him. Really good coordinated push from Falcons, and for Chiefs, this half has started out very similarly to how the last one did. A rough first couple of rounds, and of course, they don't have the ability to take a tactical timeout. You only get one per game. They've got to figure this one out by themselves. There's no coach to step in and help them, and Falcons are quite far in the lead at this point.
Before the switch, it kind of felt a little bit like Robbie was, you know, he was definitely leading in terms of kills, and he was kind of keeping Falcons hanging on in there. But Hasham and Jalad have really stepped up over the last couple of rounds. You can see them now 7 and 6 respectively in terms of kills between them, and it's just really helping push Falcons to this next gear that we're seeing out of them now. This is, you know, definitely a different pace that they're playing with compared to that first half, and they're looking great so far. 5-3 now on the scoreboard.
What I really like about it is, spoke again about the aggression and the solo plays you might see coming out of Falcons, but Robbie, I think, has really epitomised that, but more being opportunistic than anything else. Think back in the first half when he bolted in through that tin opener-sized hole that came through in towards the office wall and got 2 kills at the back of it. Look at it in the previous round, on the top floor, sorry, back in round 7, where he came charging on through on the Ash and just tore 2 players apart. Like, he is that kind of spear for them, the tip of the spear if nothing else, and it does make Falcons hard to deal with when they can change pace so damn quickly.
Just in the nick of time there, we see the Zoto canister hitting the wall. It's going to stop the thermite, but only for now. These are going to have to be chained together. It should be enough to keep that wall closed for maybe another 40 seconds to a minute at a push, but it is inevitable that it will open up. 2 kills come in though. Cairo and Jigsaw managing to find 1 apiece to undo the damage that was done by Falcons. 4 versus 3, Chiefs in advantage, and they're doubling down. They are being emboldened as they start to find kills elsewhere around the map. This is going to be another 2-1 quarter potentially as Chiefs look to lock down their first defense.
Looking so much more composed this round as well, just really slamming the door in the face of Falcons and giving them absolutely nothing. Dovikin down to just under 50 HP too. It's not looking so ideal for him. And at this point, it's more, what can we do here? We've lost 3 players inside, what, 60 seconds of the round? It's been a very rapid start. Chiefs have met fire with fire and gone back against Falcons and completely shut the front door on them. Love to see it.
Falcons Falcons just trying to get something going. It's going to be very difficult now. Jalad just holding that angle, sends in the flashes, a little bit of bait, maybe see if he can get somebody to peek, just looking for that jump in that's going to be following the utility, but Chiefs are not biting. They know that they don't need to. 1:15 left on the clock. Plenty of time to burn, plenty for Falcons to work with, but ultimately, Chiefs can just hold their angles. Exactly what they're going to do. Quiz hears him coming, manages to find his man, and it is all up to the Ram. Low health, 45 remaining, having to just try and push both sides at once, knows there's pressure from above, knows there's potentially pressure from basement as well, and it is going to be a short-lived attempt as Chiefs. They do manage to get that first defense. It gets them moving, it gets them something locked down, and it just reminds Falcons that there's still a game to play here.
Do we need the castle strat? Do we need the frost though?
Do you think they're playing a castle strat, Tim?
I think it could be a castle strat.
Do you think?
I'll play Bar actually. I'll play Bar.
It is. Kitchen and dining going to be the site we're going to, so colour me not so surprised that is what we're running out here as well. Castle is on side. No frost, as we heard them potentially discussing. Do we need that? No, you do not, apparently. So we're going to head, though, kitchen and dining, though, for round 10. As you can still see, it's still Falcons sat in the lead. They did have the on the front foot for the first couple of the rounds of this half. Chiefs have just managed to recover themselves back in. The question now will always come back to, do they build that into momentum? Because back in that first half, those final 4 rounds of the half, they went 3-1, Tim. Really managed to swing things back. Are we going to see a repeat?
I think it's going to, honestly, I think it's going to be more difficult for Chiefs to hold on this half. I think Falcons, the 2 rounds that they've won, they've looked sort of another level, another class. And I think if they can replicate that, there is rounds that they're going to find and they're going to win. Chiefs, you need to hold on to top floor, I feel, here. We saw Falcons do it beautifully. They had the Tugarau playing on office door, just delayed so much time, avoided the Deimos scans, prevented anybody pushing in on him, and wasted about 1.5 minutes just on his own. So I want to see, you know, something similar from Chiefs here, where they're just really burning that time. If you're going to play that castle up on the top floor, if that's going to be the use of utility that you bring in, you've got to make sure that you get the most out of it. However, is Quiz going to get the most out of this window? He's looking at it, he's thinking about it. Surely he is the man on the other side, but for the time being, he's going to hold his position. This is a real game of cat and mouse, Des.
Does Robbie know? He must have the right idea, but who's going to shoot first? Who's going to give away their position? I imagine the Vigil could have heard this one as well, but the patience being shown. I'll give it to Robbie. He's been waiting here a hell of a long while, and he knows to expect something, anything to come. But neither side giving it. Of course, worth noting, he's on the 0 here with those 6 cams now that's been buffed up. Very good for the purpose of course, locking down flanks. And in fact, one thing that these guys remark they aren't too hot at the minute is info gathering. Well, 6 cameras are certainly going to help with that effort, Tim.
Oh, the tension is delicious, Des. The tension is delicious down there in the mud room, but we're not going to see it come to a head for the moment. However, office wall is going to be getting opened up. That's going to allow the long angle from that balcony window, so it's just going to make, again, Chiefs' life a little bit more difficult to hold on to that top floor. We see Quiz move away from mud now, so that time spent in there has wasted half of the round for Robbie, and nothing comes of it for Falcons, so that's not actually bad from the Vigil.
Well, at this point, he's stepping up, check the back corner of Piano as well, so no nasty surprises coming on through. Taking a lot of control if he needs it, steps in, is he going for his man? Yes, he is. Really wanted the castle out, who's now got no choice but to run, and Jalab was there for the kill, but Quiz has come in below him here and managed to get away with the kill before sleuthing his way back in towards Bar and Gaming.
Yeah, failure to deal with this Vigil could really bite them. It just depends what he can do on the flank. We see Hasham go down as well. That's going to be the hard breach, so they may be going to be stuck with what access they have here, but maybe they can make it work. They've been doing great things with the shield. It's been the Monty that's been pushing them ahead here, but we're effectively now in a 2 versus 2. As I say that though, Hasham does get picked up 2 versus 3. 40 seconds left to go, but they still don't have control of sight.
Oh, but of course the cameras being able to look through the floor is also massive for them. They get so much information here if they aren't being shot out. The fact that there's a Monty coming up against 2 left on the other side is dream territory for guards. He should be able to take so much room here as long as he's not getting himself shot in the back, but there's 20 seconds to play with. They've got to make their move now.
That's the key here for Falcons. They seem to have just wasted a little bit too much time kind of dithering. The challenge is going to come from top West Main. Can't quite find his man, but it is just backing them up. 8 seconds left to go. The diffuser is in sight with the Monty, but they just have to start going for kill. Almost does it. Almost does it. Quiz so close to holding on, but ultimately you almost saw the communication there from Falcons of plant isn't going to happen, we go for kills. And it was just that switch. The Monty starts dashing in, starts creating that chaos. It was a really good shield round from Falcons. Everything that happened in that round was basically because of the Monty creating the opportunities. Really good stuff, and they close out a round that could have gone the other way there.
It was just great kills up on the top floor as well. The way that they moved their way through and cleared that out was absolutely sublime. Really good stuff and very composed, whereas I gotta hate you kind of digging back up old trauma in this case, but look at Chiefs on their attacks and the number of times they were getting caught out by players rotating into them or not correctly droning things through. It was done by the book there by Falcons. Really good on the top floor, and yes, the end was very, very close. Could have seen them losing out to the clock in the end, but they managed to get the job done. They're now at 6-4. It is their map pick, let's not forget. So there is some expectation they'll walk away the win, but as we so often see in best of threes, teams tend to end up taking each other's map picks. So who knows how Border goes when we get to that. And of course, if we need Bank, it does away. As I mentioned back in the pre-game, both teams have got a 3-0 record on that map over the last 6 months. That'll be one hell of a showdown if it's required.
What could be our last round on Chalet then if Falcons are able to get themselves another successful attack. Still going to see the Vigil brought along. It's going to be Order. We'll see whether they can get any extra value. It's not going to be an ideal start though, as Robbie manages to take down Kiro. That's going to be Sentry off the board, and a lot of utility gone with them. Of course, anybody not familiar, it's the recruit rework into Sentry and Striker, and it gives them the opportunity to bring 2 pieces of secondary utility. So it is a big loss when they go potentially, depending of course what they brought along. It may well already have been deployed, but still Falcons with a big advantage here.
Absolutely. Spot now still try and capitalise on the back of this. That Monty once again at the helm, but with the Lion and the Dokkaebi on side, as we've remarked from both teams. Seen a lot of these 3 operators in the mix here. Lion, Dokkaebi and Monty. A staple of nearly every single round. Of course, a bit of Deimos being mixed in along the way too. But you can understand why it's helping them here against Otter, who's really been a bit of the thorn in the side playing on this Vigil. Wasting a bit of time at the start of last round, getting that kill inside a lobby and then disappearing into bar gaming a few seconds later. Just enough to keep them on their toes. You don't have to worry about where he is seemingly at all times. But playing quite tight together here. You've got the drones rolling on through, as you've seen. They have lost a lot of drones, it's worth noting here, inside 75 seconds. So a bit low on the intel game. We remarked on that as to why they brought the 0 in the previous round, and now they're last. First Dokkaebi goal comes out here as well, with one more just about to come back online for them.
Gods is going to wander on into sight, and again, the Monty just becoming the magnet for attention. Manages to find a kill onto Tex as well, and you feel like this round and this map might just be done at this point. 4 versus 2 now, and they're able to start just walking on in. Jalad and Hasham pick up the final kills, and that is going to be map 1 going the way of Falcons. Chiefs, a lot of work to do in this one.
Looked a little bit too cozy on those attacks for Falcons, I think, unfortunately. Just being able to go from slow to fast at the drop of a hat really kept the other side guessing. And for Chiefs, I think they won't be too beat up about it as well. Again, it wasn't their map pick. Maybe see themselves not the strongest on that map. But for Falcons, and I think Robbie especially, he was a real thorn in their side that entire game with the kind of pace he was coming at.
My concern for Chiefs is this next map. Like I said, I know that Border isn't a Falcons map, but I just kind of feel like Border's one of those maps where even if it's your map and not theirs, you can still easily lose it because it's just so many gunfights, so many close quarters opportunities. It can be turned around, and I don't know, it could be a tough day for Chiefs today.
Could turn out to be a 2-0 if they don't manage to spin this one back on its head. There are some high moments in there as well. You know, Jigsaw's had a pretty good game, as we remarked. His entry game was really, really strong, and at points they look good. I just feel where they really lost that game was in those rounds where they weren't fully present, where the droning was poor, where they weren't playing as a team, where they were letting Robbie somehow flank and kill 3 of them without being checked. Little things like that are what need to be corrected, because both halves, the first 2 rounds, they weren't there.
Yeah, and I think they'll recognise that. You know, they've got players like Tex on there, a lot of experience, you know, over many, many years of playing this game. Jigsaw, like you say, ability as well. It's a great roster overall, and I think, you know, they are definitely capable of recognising those issues and dealing with them quickly. But, like I say, I just feel like it goes into a little bit of the Wild West almost, rather than Border when you look at Border as a map. And it is one that you can just win in a bit of a shootout.
I do worry, though, that with them hitting their shots, like you say, Border may well prove to be another Falcons map. But we'll find out after a short break, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in just a few.
contact.
Available now.
tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel it? Let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still that. Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah, yeah. 30,000 up, I'm a pilot. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap, tap, real smooth. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go.
Welcome back to our second map of the day here in this first series, but of course, Tim, it's probably worth stressing exactly what we're playing for here. This is the upper bracket still. Whoever wins this qualifies. You get to go through to phase 2. You lose, you go down to the lower bracket, and if you lose down there, well, your major's over before it's even begun.
Well, it's all going to get wrapped up today. That's the big point, Des. We come in with 8 teams, we leave with 4 at the end of the day. This game that we're watching now is an opportunity for somebody to avoid that, to get themselves through, to get it done, to not have to go through that pressure cooker of the lower bracket.
And it's a horrible place to be as well. Again, you've arrived and you've done all this prep and this hard work, all the travel, you come over here, and to know that inside 2 days of play, you can find yourself going home, it's a bit of a heartbreaker, especially all the hard work that these teams have put in to get here. You know, some of these teams, G2 you saw on screen just a second ago, they're boot camp for the last 2 weeks, 13 days straight of playing to get themselves ready for this and to make sure they make it out of the current predicament they find themselves in. Well, a quick look back at our previous map in case you did miss it. Robbie, as mentioned, was the true terror for me. We saw occasional moments of brilliance coming out of the other side, but quite consistently, it was Falcons who had the aggression and had control of the game.
Yeah, it felt like, for me, Chiefs were more reliant on, say, a big round from Jigsaw to get it over the line. You'd want that opening kill and then follow up with a couple more. And we kind of see that with 17 kills between the top 2 there. Falcons, it felt like that threat was coming from a number of places. Now, looking towards map 2, it's border. It's not one that Falcons like. We know that. It's an opportunity for Chiefs to take it to 3, but let's not forget, as we've just said, the pressure is on Chiefs now. They're playing, you know, not quite yet playing for their position in the tournament, but they're playing to avoid that lower bracket. It's all on border now. If they don't get this done, they drop down there and they have that disqualification match. It's a tough one. For me, border is a little bit of a risk, and I'm particularly looking towards the operator bands to see maybe a little bit of an insight into what Chiefs think about how Falcons are going to approach this. The reason that I say that, Falcons just had some really good shield use. Guards used Monty fantastically well on Chalet. What is one of the big problems for attackers on border? And the answer is getting inside of the map. You're getting challenged in CCTV, you're getting challenged in Office, you're getting challenged at Top East, you're getting challenged in these locations, and it's difficult to get established. How do you fix that? You send in the Monty. You just walk in behind the shield, you take the ground, you force the defenders back. And the fact that we haven't seen Chiefs ban out Monty makes me a little bit concerned, because, I mean, I don't know, maybe Falcons don't, but I'm looking towards them thinking off what we've just seen on Chalet. I think they stick guards on the Monty again, they drive him into the map, and they build from behind him.
The thing is, for Falcons, I don't even know if they need it. Like, their ability and what I've seen, at least in terms of the pace of play that they have, has been so chaotic and difficult to deal with for Chiefs. I think they don't even need a Monty to be in front of their face. They'll be able to capitalize on the chaos regardless. So really, the onus spins on towards Chiefs. Yes, this is their map pick. They should be the ones in control. But it's them who I'm looking towards here to be able to stem the bleeding a little bit, slow down the onslaught of Falcons, and get some control here, especially on the defensive half of border. Now, you mentioned earlier on the Falcons don't like this map. It is their lowest preferred match. They've not banned it once over the last 6 months. every time it's been banned, it's because they've banned it away. They refuse to go to this map in basically every single situation. Whereas on the other side of things, well, Chiefs, they're 2-0 on this map. They're very comfortable here. Last played it about a month ago, I believe it was, where they came away a pretty comfortable winner. Didn't ban away the Monty, it was banned away against them in that game. So maybe you'll see Chiefs exploiting it themselves when we get to that second half. For now, though, their attacking bans have all been about what they saw on the previous map of both Dokkaebi and the Deimos being taken away.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. I come back to the point that I made, and maybe I'll be proved wrong, I don't know, but going through, I look at Border, if you're going to have a bad map, something like Border isn't a bad one to have. You know, I've already spoken, it's a lot of gunfights. It's a simple map. There's not a lot to it. It's not a big map. There's not tons of space to take.
It's not Lair,
it's not. No, it's not. Yeah. You know, if you're bad on Nighthaven and you get taken to Nighthaven Labs by a good Labs team, I expect you to be absolutely dismantled because there's just too much to cover if you don't know what's going on. Border, it's one of those basics. It's been around for a long time. It's small. It's compact. If you're gonna win a bad map, I feel like Border is one that you can do. We will see how it plays out. We're into it now. Falcons, one map up already, having won Chalet. Chiefs, it's now or never. They need to keep themselves fighting in this one. Looking across the lineup, it might not be Monty, but it is Blitz. I said we'd see guards continue on that shield play. It's going to be a great way to push in and take space in Border. Here you go. I think that proves my point.
And this is the beauty of it. Again, they know exactly what they can do with this operator. You know that you're going to have roamers out here on the map. Go in and punish. And knowing that the Azami can be such a headache to try and deal with when she's like anchored in to this spot around 19, able to rotate back towards Fountain, best thing you can do about it is go hyper-aggressive like we've just seen. A really good start for them. A C4 now lurking underneath, which I don't think at this point Falcons will be aware of, given it's basically the other side of, well, other side of the map, underneath them, where they put that focus entirely on the top floor so far. So keep an eye on Cairo here. Could do a little bit of damage.
It's like I said, on Border, how do you win defences? You keep the attackers out of the map. If they get established, if they get a beachhead, then attackers generally do very well on Border. Look at the damage now that's being taken by Chiefs. We've got two players low health, Order and Quiz. We've got the Nitro underneath not really working out, just having to make his way back up. Tex is going to be taken down to low health as well. Quiz is finished off. Falcons got inside of the map, and they have made life a living hell here in round one for Chiefs. 5-1. Des, tell me again. Is this a good map or not for Falcons?
That's a flawless round. Even Hasham's like, okay, that was a thing. It was brutal and punishing.
Once you get in as an attacker, you are usually fine. And if they can just abuse the shields to do that, Falcons will be fine for this first half.
Well, again, coming back to what I said as well, is I don't think they need to worry about running a Monty. The blitz there was brought along purely to break that angle around 19, to get rid of the Azami, which they knew was going to really slow the round down and stop them playing around west. Now, what the best part was, is immediately you had a player in East Main, you had one coming in through off his window. They had this kind of 4 or 5 points around, like a star being built around this team of Chiefs, and just slowly condensed in around them. And this is what I thought Falcons did really well back on the previous map as well, is didn't see the need to stand behind a Monty and have 3 or 4 players like, oh, well, Drone will get the Nomad to lock things down. No, they had players working their way through lobby while the Monty came down from solar side, for example, on the top floor. And I think that ability to have these backstab players, teams that aren't ready for that style of play are going to get run over by it, and that's exactly what Chiefs have just found out. I really hope they recover themselves early in this game and get a good going here in round 2. Otherwise, I feel it's going exactly the same way as Chalet did.
Yeah, they're going to face much the same, I think, up on the top floor. We're seeing the Lion switched away. That's in favour of a little bit more soft breach in the terms of the Roteros. Also some utility clearance as well, of course. We've got the Ram brought along from Jalad. Interestingly, the Blitz does actually get 6 picked away, so I think the lineup was looking towards the top floor site. They've decided that they can do this with the Ying instead. This is lining up, you know, definitely towards a plant, get those Candelas in, cover a bit of ground. This is going to be an interesting contrast. How well do Falcons take the top floor? How well do Falcons control the areas that they need to without that shield? Are they able to get in the map, or can Chiefs now fight them back?
Nah, I think they'll probably get in with very little bother, to be honest with you. Again, looking at how Falcons have played it out, I'm not too concerned that they're like crutching on a shield in this case. Of course, a shield always makes things easier, but now they've got something like a Ying to lean into to really go aggressive off the back of it. It's not Robbie running around though on the Ash in this round, as of course you'd expect him to be, given the way he was playing back on the previous. It's a shot who wants to put his entry chops to the test, and Robbie, who's sat here on the Flores. Well, here we go, nice and quick, 1 behind half wall here. Doesn't quite find his man, stepping forward, but look at that, the backstab from Hasham. They've got a 2v1 there, and they've completely crushed the player out. Dovakin falls down as well. well. There's one more inside of office on the deck at this point, and they know exactly where he is. Can they punish before he manages to get away?
Yeah, they really need to. It gives them the man advantage as well as the top floor control. But as I said, Chiefs just managing to hold on a little bit better to this top floor than they did last time around. Robbie does manage to find order. 3 versus 2 though. Chiefs can now start to think about dropping away essentially. They'll know that they've taken down the Ram. That takes away a lot of that vertical opportunity that Falcons might have been able to find. So Chiefs just need to make sure they don't overstay their welcome up here on the top floor, but they won't as they manage to get another down. It's a 1 versus 2 for Robbie.
A minute and 20 to play. Diffuser not in hand. He needs to go and win this 1v1 separately, which might not be the easiest. I know that he's been playing out pretty strong, but as you've seen for a second ago, Clara Elise was in a good spot to do some damage, as was Jigsaw. He's now dropped away too, so they've really tried to deny that 1v1 that he was looking for. Diffuser now in hand as well. Bulletproof taken off the wall. Drops in here as well. He knows that he's in a spot of risk and danger. About 60 seconds to work with here, but needs to isolate these 1v1s if he's going to make this work.
Yeah, it should be a fairly easy closeout for Chiefs here. Even with, you know, any verticality getting opened up, they just need to stay within kind of, you know, what I'd describe as touching distance of each other. They just need to be able to impact on any death that comes in, and they should be fine. Robbie, he's just trying to, you know, find anything he can. Is he going to open this wall up? No, he's not. He's going to be effectively using it as a drone instead. He knows that he's safe to drop and uses that noise a little bit.
Oh,
That's his first. They've given him the opportunity for the 1v1s. 20 seconds to go, and that's a 1v2, and that is a huge mistake from Chiefs, Des. If you remember, I said all they needed to do was keep within touching distance, be able to affect the other one's death, and they didn't do it. They didn't account for the hatch drop into bathroom. As soon as he goes down there, he's got his 1v1. At worst, they both challenge him at once and he lines them both up. At best, he gets them one at a time. Brilliantly played by Robbie. Chiefs, they've let a round slip through their hand that should have been theirs.
I get the initial 1v1 engagement that was taken as well, but you're rounding a corner into a single doorway where he could be anywhere inside that room, and because of the distance he's got from the angle and you're up tight to it, he's going to see you first every single day of the week. That was basically a massive whiff by Robbie if he doesn't win that 1v1, and then you're leaving him down to an actual 1v1 to close, and at that point it's flipping a coin. It's painful because they did everything right there, Chiefs. They were in a 4 versus 2. Robbie's gone absolutely nuclear and dragged it back over the finish line for his team. They're up 2-0.
Almost everything right, Des. Almost. They were so close, like you say. The problem that they've got is that was, again, I don't want to keep hinging on these shields necessarily, but we see it getting brought along again. The top floor clearance wasn't as smooth last time. They lost a couple of players. Chiefs were able to stand up. They got, I think it was a 4v2 at one point. This time they're going to be fighting against that blitz again, so now they need a plan to sort that. They've got the Warden, but obviously it depends if Quiz is right place, right time to be the one that the blitz is challenging. They've got the Legion. The goo mines can be dealt with. They don't go invisible anymore. They haven't for the longest time. They can just be shot out. They can be spotted. That should be clearable by Falcons. So this is a pivotal round for me here for Chiefs. They're going to face an onslaught, and they've got to hold on, Des.
They want to crack this top floor quick before any of these players can drop away. You've got the Frost on the hatch, and of course the Warden's not much further back. Speaking of the Frost, not that it matters anyway, because straight in they go. They've found one more off the back of it too. Everyone's going down, but they're all getting straight back up at this point, Tim. There's still one more inside of office, and Robbie's going to try and find what he can, but down on 20 HP. That C4 looks increasingly threatening. Chiefs have held them back, and who knew, Tim, that a Frost would be what was Falcons' undoing.
There's going to be a lot of time that the Blitz can't run for as well, and that's a big nerf to the Blitz, not being able to run, not being able to close down that space between you and the defender that you're challenging. So at least for the next good while, they're just going to have to maybe try and sit back here. They've got time to do it. They can just hold off, let Robbie get his full speed back, and then maybe try to play in behind him. But I feel like Chiefs are in a good spot here, and that was a mistake from Falcons. I called Chiefs out in the last round for their mistake. I'll do the same to Falcons here. You got to know about that frost mat. I know that they're gambling. I know that sometimes you just got to say, we're playing this quick, we go in for it. But it was a big mistake. You can't drop your blitz into a frost mat like that, especially not just cleanly under a window where you'd expect one.
You still got to do your prep work at the end of the day is the most important part, right? And it was Robbie, Hisham and Jalab were all down. Obviously, a couple managed to get themselves back on their feet. One eventually finished off, and now Robbie's left with 20 HP to his name. And Dovahkiin 40. Not looking super ideal. What we saw last round, Tim, it can still go horribly wrong.
Just trying to jostle for position at the minute, move things around, see if they can get a freebie onto any of these defenders. I'm not sure that Chiefs will be making the same mistakes. A lot of damage done to the Mute, I think it was there, that was taking tons of bullets from above. The drop comes down and somehow managed to win the fight. It's a 2v1, Des, in the blink of an eye.
And you can see why Dovahkiin was the top-rated player for this team yesterday. That was a miraculous 2v1. He just pulled off. And now, what? How has Sixer got away with that? Got one onto himself, but Dovahkiin's there for the 3. And rightly so, he is absolutely ecstatic. How on earth he's won that 1v2 as he's dropped down the hatch? I don't know. The Mute had his number. He knew he was there. Dovahkiin had no idea and still won.
I feel like Chiefs are rattled.
I think they're in for a timeout surely at this point. Yep, they are. There we go. I mean, no surprise. It has been tragic.
I think they're rattled at the minute. You know, those are not mistakes that we would expect to see out of players of this caliber. And yeah, you can't lose that fight dropping down the hatch. As he drops down the hatch, I'm thinking, well, that's round over. They start watching it. He's gonna get the kill. It's gonna be round over. It's gonna be 3v1. But all of a sudden, it's a 1v2. And I don't know what went on at the end in the last few seconds. I think Jigsaw was quite lucky to just lash out and get a kill onto the blitz, you know, when he was full white flash, but it was just such an easy mop-up at the end to close things out. So, again, another good round from Falcons, kind of just working with what they've got.
Dovahkiin's like, yeah, I'm the man. I'm the man. He knew it from that round as well. 2 rounds again that you'd look at and say Falcons shouldn't have won. That's 2 rounds given away by Chiefs when they should really comfortably up 2-1 at this point. Well, Falcons, they've just got that. They've got something about them, Tim, that aggression that I spoke about earlier on that at the minute Chiefs just aren't coping very well with. Bit of a mismatch maybe stylistically between the two teams. But as it stands, it's Falcons with a flawless first quarter. Now get to go and do the same thing all over again. Chiefs managed to turn it around after the attack time up back on Chalet. Will they have the same fortune here, or will Falcons carry on? Because don't forget, they equally get their own 45 seconds to have a conversation with the coach to really try and push this to the next level and end up with a very strong half. Whether that's 5-1, 6-0, they'll be ecstatic either way.
Yeah, this is beyond anything Falcons could dream of, realistically. You know, coming into a map that is their perma-bat, and like I said, Border, I think the point is being proven, is not a bad map to have as a map you don't like, as a map you don't play, because it is winnable just on gunfights. It is winnable just on taking the smallest amounts of space. You know, it is not a lair, it is not a Nighthaven Labs where you can't really get away with that same sort of tactic, that same sort of technique. We're going to see another top floor hold. Last time it was the push from the Blitz into CCTV. This time it is going to be the Monty. We'll see whether Guards does look towards CCTV and break again, or whether it's maybe a more direct push in towards site this time.
A different form with a shield coming along here. It's been blitzed for 3 rounds. The Monty here is mentioned. Line in support as well. Definitely changed up the game plan, I think, to try and keep the other side guessing, because again, they've got their 45 seconds to figure things out, and none of those 45 seconds are how do we address what we've seen for the first 3 rounds. Falcons are probably talking about what do the next 3 look like to keep them having to figure out new problems here as you step on through. And there's a freebie. Jigsaw just steps across the doorway and break. That's Dov getting rid of him. Easy peasy.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Chiefs at the minute. You know, just offering themselves up on easy angles. It's like they're a magnet. It's like they're a moth to a flame right now, Des. But the flame keeps burning them time after time after time. 5 versus 1. And Chiefs they're crumbling before our eyes right now.
Oh, I was about to say, it comes down to the gunfights being lost out so consistently here. And sure, Kara gets one back, but you're against the Monty and 3 others. Good luck, my friend, is all I can say. And again, it's another big 3K coming out from Dovahkiin. It was the same in the prior round in the close that saw them win things out here. He's basically single-handedly won things out there, but Chiefs look so disorganized. 3 separate 1v1s, half the time not even shooting back. Falcons are making it look easy.
The 3 kills on break door for Dov there it was like a dance. It was like poetry. It was absolutely beautiful. He just he gets the first one through the barricade, sees his opportunity onto the Azami, then he just kind of swings gently with the 1 tap onto site, then he moves across. It was just sweeping through
fluid
them
like water,
with
isn't
the
it?
greatest of ease. It was so smooth.
People will probably jump on this and go, are you saying he's as good as them? I'm like, well, maybe he could be. We'll see how the tournament plays out. But it reminds me of watching players like Shaiko or like Spoit, for example, when they're just walking through a team, it seems like a trance or a dance.
It was just like,
it's beautiful.
It was almost choreographed for him to just be like, yeah, flick, hit there, shot there, and it was just, you know, it's brilliant to see players get into that sort of flow where everything's just clicking for them, and that was definitely one of those moments.
Well, he was our 4th highest rated player after yesterday. In fact, just a single point of EPS behind Hornet, who currently sits in 3rd place at 131. I think after this series, he might find himself jumping forward a fair bit more. Same for Robbie, to be fair. I know he was speaking about Dovakin, who's had 2 nuclear rounds, but Robbie's been that consistent player again. Did really well last map, now finds himself at 6-1. That's 18 kills so far across the 2 maps. Not quite saying there's a record to be broken with how this game is playing out, but very impressive from those 2 players especially.
Chiefs, I think now or never just took on a new meaning after the first 4 rounds. Falcons absolutely dominating at the minute, playing in behind those shields, as I suggested that they might, just to create that space, to create that opportunity for them, and they're doing it wonderfully. You know, out of the 2 teams, Chiefs did use shields. They used Monty in 3 out of the 6 rounds on the attack of Chalet, but I never felt as confident in their shield play as I have in Falcons. I look at Falcons on the shield and I think, now, like, I look at guards here and I think it's a matter of time on the blitz until he does some damage, until he goes in and causes a real problem for them. Jalad manages to pick up Jigsaw elsewhere. 5 versus 4, another entry going in the way of Falcons. Tex taken down, and it is not looking good right now. The one respite that I can find for Chiefs at the minute is they didn't pick to start on defense. They picked the map, so Falcons chose attack. So at least there's maybe that for Chiefs fans to rest back on, that it'll get better in the second half. But right now, there is a huge gulf between the performance level of these 2 teams.
Oh, massively. I mean, at least they've stemmed the bleeding, Chiefs. I say that, not their own bleeding. They were both on basically no HP. Chris has got it all to do against both. Again, the 2 players we've spoken about to the death here, Robbie and Dovakin, coming, bearing down on him. This feels like a terrifying prospect. Can certainly make a name for himself. He manages to win it out, but it is a big ask with half a round still to play out.
You get the feeling that they've got a good idea of where he is as well. The diffuser's down at the minute, which is something that Quiz could potentially use to his advantage here. But with 1 minute 15 left on the clock, it just shows how aggressive Falcons have been playing these rounds, Des. They've been playing them at absolute full speed, full force, no holding back whatsoever. And it's meaning when they do get into these 2v1 situations, it becomes very difficult. Yeah, he's got the diffuse, but how does he realistically hold on to it? I'm not sure about that push coming in from Dov there. We've been saying how great he's been playing. Robbie manages to mop it up and spare some blushes for the team, I think, there. I'm pretty sure as he came in through metal, he was on a reload. You've got 1 minute 10. Just reload and then push in. It's not that big a rush. I apologise if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure he was his gun was out of action, and he knows that he's in small office.
I think he's at a point.
He really wasn't ready for the fight.
Dovakin's at a point where, because he's popped off for 3 rounds in a row, he's like, oh, yeah, I'll keep going. I can win this.
You get it.
Yeah, I don't need to play this for you.
I'll look at it and I'll get it.
Him and Robbie at this point are racing to the top of the leaderboard, trying to fight with each other is the way that it's playing out. What I really love, and I spoke about this earlier on, you know, Dovakin and Guards being twins, both are currently studying cybersecurity. They graduate in January. They are not full-time Siege players like many others that you'll see around the world and throughout this tournament, of course. Imagine when they have the time to commit towards going full-time, how scary they could be. If he keeps on playing the way that he is today, and we see him build like that over the next year or so, Falcons could prove to be a real outfit that we see constantly appearing at events and fighting for big place finishes. Wouldn't that be lovely? Final
defensive round for Chiefs. The question is, can they get one successful defensive round to keep themselves fighting in here to go to that 3rd map? Bank will be the decider if we get there. It's looking unlikely at the minute, but over years and years of Siege, we've learned plenty of lessons about what is possible in those second halves. So there is still potentially a lot of Siege to be played here. But right now, Falcons just feel like they're operating on a different level to Chiefs. Chiefs, they just look shell-shocked at the minute, Des. They're punch-drunk. They're just not responding. They're not reacting. They're very barely winning a lot of these fights. They're coming away on low health when they do. very tough for them, and they haven't had an answer for the Shields at all the whole way through. They've brought the Legion consistently. It hasn't slowed them down at all. They had the Frostmat that caught the Blitz, but other than that, there's been no real direct answer to dealing with guards.
It's so hard because top teams around the world struggle to deal with Shields. There's a reason why they're as strong as they are at the moment. I like that play from below, and this we saw back in round 1, to be fair. It wasn't really droned out downstairs by the side of Falcons. They went in on that top floor, managed to get away with it, and Falcons, as said, weren't punished back then. Here, though, they have done just that. Good start in response from Chiefs. 4v3.
Much better. They had a plan to deal with the Shield. Legion mine, shotgun underneath, job done. 4 versus 3, as now Falcons have to scramble a little bit. They have to try and find themselves a little bit of an alternative. It's going to be a push in towards office. They know there's one waiting around the corner, but they didn't expect Quiz to be getting aggressive and coming forward looking for that fight. 3 versus 2 as Hasham manages to keep them in it, and it's him again. Robbie, he's there. He really is him this game, Des. He keeps finding kills at the critical moments.
Otter's still got his 3 smokes to play behind here. They can stall things out, but now he's in a 1 versus 2. Robbie finding Jigsaw's feet here, putting the final pieces of this puzzle together. It looks like a 6-0 half is all but guaranteed unless Otter can work some absolute magic. Yes, he found the entry through the floor onto the Shield player. Great start. But now he's probably wondering, how the hell am I now finding myself as the last man standing against a greater man count on the other side? Leith here's got the right idea. Shotgun through the floor, but doesn't find his man. A shot on 7 HP, Robbie on 21. The shotgun or the SMG here will do enough for him to be able to bring them down. Of course, assuming he gets away with it. Flash not quite placed in the right position here. Working his way up towards Metal. Don't think they know that he's on this spot, though. A bit of danger with 40 seconds still to play. Really, Falcons have got the ability, diffusers in hand, for example, to make this work. But if they don't respect Otter or appreciate where he's coming from, this could really come back to bite them, and that flawless half falls away.
2 Toxic Babes still in pocket, and a sniff of one of them will do it. How about that? He knew that the plant was going down. He didn't know where the cover would be. I don't know. I'm looking at that and thinking, you've got to expect something from the hatch.
Yes, your lad. Robbie!
You've surely got to expect something from the hatch. You can't crouch around that corner to take that fight. He's got 2 Toxic Babes in pocket.
I was going to say, you can smoke out the diffuser there. Exactly, and they died because they're so low HP.
7 HP, 1 sniff of that gas and he's gone. It's done.
Probably also
and then it's a 1v1.
Probably kills the second player because he was on
Very
21
possibly,
HP. He was
yeah.
done as well, yeah. Hindsight is obviously a beautiful thing here, and he was so concerned about the plant going down that he wanted to deny the player, but you're right, not really appreciating where the second man, where the last man was, where the cover was coming from.
He's going to be above.
That's it.
He's going to be covering from above. It's the only place you can really cover that plant spot from. Unless he's dropped with him and gone off towards the ventilation rotate, which I don't think many attackers are ever going to do, the likelihood is that he is above watching from the hatch. Big mistake. Big mistake.
Terrifying team Falcons are proving to be, because in their series yesterday, they won 2-1, yes, but you look at the actual round scores of those games, 7-1 on Bank, 7-0 on Nighthaven Labs. They rolled through those 2 games. Cafe, they lost by a single round. It ended 8-7 over towards Alpha. Here, we had a 7-3, 7-4, 7-4, you can see the top right screen, a 7-4 back on the first map, and here, this could go on to be a 7-0. I always say 2 halves to a game of Siege, but I do just worry that at this point, Chiefs' goose is cooked.
I'd hate to be Chiefs looking back and seeing how many...
You just hate to be Chiefs in general right now, Tim.
Well, yeah. I'd hate to look back and see how many 3v2, 4v2s they've lost. Because it's at least 3 or 4 rounds where they've had a decent man advantage and have gone on to lose it. And that's a huge problem if you're Chiefs. You know, I'm not saying that Border is over. It is... Might be over. Thank you, Robbie, for the perfect timing of that kill there. I'm not saying it's definitely over, but Chiefs need to start thinking about the next game. They need to start thinking about the lower bracket, where it will be make or break, where it will be all or nothing, and they cannot be giving away man advantages. They cannot be giving away rounds that are 4v2, 3v2, 2v1. They can't be giving them away.
And yet, Tim, they are, and that is... It's very clear the mental is gone. Yeah. And that means the lower bracket is no doubt going to be what they have to find themselves in. If he'd hung on for half a second longer, he would have found his man there. East main, where we're seeing the push coming through now as well from 2 players. Otherwise, it's just the ace to join them, but it looks like it's over, Tim. I'm not going to lie.
Certainly does. We're going to have Quiz just moving across. He's got a little bit of intel there, gets himself a freebie. That at least gets something going for Chiefs, brings them back into it. 3 versus 4 now. They've still got the Monty as well, so they've got, you know, something to work behind. A missed opportunity potentially for Robbie there. Going to see himself getting faced down by the Monty now. Backs himself away, but again, smart play. Checking his other angles, knowing that the danger isn't really coming from the shield. It's coming from those who will be pushing with him. So manages to escape for the time being, and it's going to leave Quiz to move underneath, maybe try and do a bit of work from down there.
I praise the ability of Chiefs, you know, looking at them coming as a team into the tournament, trying to adopt some more of that more strategic gameplay. Like, these are the kind of situations that I said early on, you back them to do quite well in. Like, yeah, they're a man down, but they've got a lot of time to play with, and now they're just getting picked apart, not quite able to isolate the players that they need or be aware of what they're trying to do. And now in a 2 versus 4, this one looks all but done.
They've got a Monty in break. How is the run out not getting called? Falcons managed to get the kill. They know that Quiz is the last one alive top east. It's a matter of time at this point. Sham getting a little bit cheeky, calls the GG, but quite right, he is. As the game closes out, Falcons then manage to get themselves a win. Des, Falcons, they're going to be going through to phase 2. What a